Hello friends and welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another Pokemon Pokopia speed build video. I recently put out a poll on the channel to see what type of theme or version of each of the areas you'd want to see. And for Withered Wastelands, you all voted for medieval. So today we are building an entrance to Withered Wasteland that is centered around like a medieval theme. So I've been doing a lot of research on, well, just Pinterest, really, for medieval type builds. And one thing that I saw in a lot of these pictures or like concept art is a like arch walkway with a little like bridge walkway moment on top of it, and I was really inspired by that concept. So that's going to be the main like focal point for this build. As you can see, we're already building up the archway right now, and I'm using a mix of the cobblestone and the, I think it's the white cliff rock, and then those little arched little things, little corner pieces. I don't have these unlocked. I think you unlock them in Pallet Town. I don't have them unlocked. I just tore down that entire cliff like where we're building right now and basically stole them. So we're just going to use those. I think I had a total of 6 or 8, so I didn't have a whole lot of them, but I did have enough for this entire build, thankfully. And then for the walkway, I didn't want it to be all cobblestone. I kind of wanted the cobblestone to be the base of the buildings, and then the walkway to also be like a type of stone, but something that definitely looked a little bit different from the cobblestone. So I'm actually using gravel, which I really wish gravel was a recipe in this game, but you can only find it like in nature, I guess. And you kind of have to like go find it. So I found this, I think it was on the Eevee doll, and it's like underground. So I just did like a bunch of graveler and like stole it. You can see it like if they have like water features, like ponds and stuff on the Dream Islands, like most of the ground is made up of gravel. So just in those areas, I would go and like find a bunch and take it home with me. And I mixed that with the white cliff rock, and I think that combination looked really cute. So kind of happy with that. And then I started working on a little area to the side of our little walkway, and I decided I didn't like it. So instead, I decided we're going to put some little houses over here. Also, the number of times I ran out of cobblestone in this build is actually crazy. I didn't realize, like when I'm building, I never realize how many blocks I'm actually going to use. And I had to like make cobblestone 800 times during this video. I cut it out obviously because it's not that exciting, but like during this build I had to craft so many materials because I never think that I'm going to use that many, I guess. I don't know. And I kept expanding the area larger and larger, which, you know, didn't help. Also, PP, listen, please. We need another upgrade. Hopefully with this DLC that's coming out that has the bubbly basin, that little area, hopefully there's another PP upgrade. Which I hate that they call it PP. It feels so weird saying that. But I run out of it so quickly. And back to the build for a second though. You can see that I made this little like L-shape house, but then I realized that little front L was only 1 space wide, and I was like, that's not gonna work. So I'm adding more cobblestone to the area and then just destroying this wall right here because I want to expand it a little bit more. But you'll see in a little bit that I actually destroy it again. So we add it and then tear it down and then add it and then tear it down, which is lovely. But for most of the building also, I want to mention I'm using a combination of the plaster and the stylish wall. I had to time travel so much to get the recipe for the stylish stuff, and it was actually very frustrating because I feel like that is like one of the most commonly used like block types, and I could not find it for the life of me. I had to time travel all the way till September, which I know some people don't like time traveling in games, but you know, it is what it is. I did time travel. But here is me going back and just squaring off this building instead of making it like that L shape, and you'll see why in a second. but this is me actually using the stylish wall set that I had to painstakingly find. I also skipped over this a second ago, a couple minutes ago, but I did make that little bridge walkway up top, so you can kind of see that on top of the like cliff area that we have that little walkway. And I'm using the sash windows and I painted them brown, and I think they're so cute. And it just looks like a little, I don't know, I do close it off later, you'll see, with doors, so technically it could count as a habitat, like a house for some Pokemon, but that's not really why I wanted to do it. So I do keep it empty because I just want it to be like a hallway basically. But you can see I destroyed the little L-shape house because I wanted to add a second level to this area, and I wanted that area to be on stilts because that's another thing. I don't know if it's called stilts or posts. I don't know what they call it, but I really liked the look of the medieval buildings that had some like kind of like floating a little bit, you know, like on the stilts. So I definitely wanted to add that to this build, at least in one area. And this build does come out to be like extremely large, I will say that. But yeah, I wanted this little L shape on top to be on the stilts, so the bottom part is just the little square piece. And I used the rustic door for that one, and I'm pretty sure that's the only time I used the rustic door, but I used it with the brown paint, and I think it looks really cute actually. And then for the bottom of this area, like where the actual floor is, I'm using the pillar pieces. I think this is the lower piece. I go between the lower and the upper piece, and then sometimes I use the middle piece like randomly. And then the hardwood flooring for like the ground. I did realize after recording that the houses that are on the bottom level, I did keep the ground inside as cobblestone. So I don't know if I want to go back and change that out to be wood on the floor inside the buildings, because I didn't think about them having cobblestone floors inside. I think it's still kind of fitting, but I was expecting it to be wood and I just forgot to change it because this build took so long, to be honest. And I actually made another version of this build first and I didn't like it and tore it all down. So this was my second time basically trying to make this build, and I do like it a lot more than the first iteration that I made. But for the second floor, we're adding more of the stripy little stylish walls, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to keep everything like more simple without doing all the stripes and everything. But again, when I was looking at concept art and like pictures of medieval buildings and everything, they all looked like super intricate with like the wood paneling and everything. So I did want to stick to that, and since it took me forever to find the actual recipe, I figured it was fitting that I actually use it a little bit more. And I really like how it turned out. I will say that I am still working on focusing on all sides of the builds. I think because I've played so much Animal Crossing, I've only had to focus on the like front of my builds. So I really focus on the front of my builds, and then I kind of neglect like the sides and the back of the building. So technically for this build, the back of this build is completely flat, like with basically no windows. So I do have plans for behind this area, so I don't think it will be that noticeable. But I definitely think that if you want to take inspiration from this build or recreate it, that you could definitely do some more interesting things in the back of the build. But I am going to continue this kind of build into like the city behind it. And I want to have like somewhat of like a courtyard and some buildings like surrounding that. So I think I can connect those buildings to this one. So I don't think it will be too noticeable that it is blank in the back. But I might go through and add some things later on. It is just the first build out of everything. I'm also thinking about making a lighthouse. So this whole area that I'm working in was like all cliff and everything, and I tore it completely down. So it's like the area that you start in by the beach, and then also where like that rocket ship is, spoiler alert. But I tore all of that down, and it was a lot of work. I have so much cliff rock now and everything from it. It's absurd. But there is a little ocean rock kind of jut out point. I don't know if you'll ever see it during this video. You might see it like in the background a little bit, but there's a lot of like that black ocean rock. And I was thinking about putting a lighthouse with like a little house with it right there, and I think that would be really cute. Also, I'm so sorry if my voice sounds weird in this video. I've been sick for like 2 weeks, it feels like, and I've had this video recorded for a couple days now, and I just want to get it out for all of you so that we have a video coming out this week. And oh, I also wanted to mention, if you guys would be interested in seeing like let's play kind of style videos for building, because this is like a speed build video, which isn't very speedy because it's like 42 minutes long or something like that. But I have been thinking about doing a let's play style of like building. I just don't know how long those videos would end up being, because like for this video, it took me so long to build it. And I think it just feels like extra long because, like I said, I like built something and then tore it down and then rebuilt it. So in my mind, it's probably just longer than it was actually. But let me know if you'd be interested in those style videos. They'd probably be on the longer side, but I'd basically be like walking through like what I'm thinking about when building and all of that stuff. I don't know if I'll do it on this save or another save, because technically I have 2 accounts. So the one that I'm working on this one is actually my husband's account. He doesn't play on the Switch 2 at all, and he doesn't really play Nintendo games anymore, like on the Switch or anything at the moment. So like I just use his account and he doesn't care. So don't worry. I'm not stealing his stuff. Don't worry about that. I know some people have been worried about that in the past. He's completely fine with me using his account. But I'm definitely working on his account, and I have another account, my account, that has a save on it too. So I was wondering if I should do like a let's play series on the other account. I am also going to be decorating on stream. I'm actually streaming later today, and trying to decide where I want to stream on that. I've also been wanting to do a Cloud Island, and I was actually thinking about doing a 30-day Cloud Island challenge, but I was thinking about like having it in August, but August is when we get the DLC, so I wasn't really sure if people would be interested in like watching a Cloud Island challenge when we have the DLC coming out, because it wouldn't really include the DLC because I would be recording it in the past, basically. Like I would start recording it now, and then it would be like released in August. So I don't know, let me know if you'd be interested in that. I know Crossing Minute did one, and I've actually been watching his series on that right now. And then I know the Artsy Gamer, sorry, they are doing a like fundraising type challenge, and they're also doing a Cloud Island challenge, and I've been loving watching that on their streams, and I think it's really interesting. And I've actually never like done a Cloud Island at all. Like I've never even been to one. So I think it would be really fun, and I like that it kind of includes all of the different biomes in a single island, although I kind of don't like that. I don't know, because I haven't really decorated in Pallet Town either, so I don't know. I just thought a 30-day challenge would be fun, and I love doing them. I've obviously done a bunch of them on my like Animal Crossing focus channel, which I've slightly neglected for a little bit now. But yeah, let me know if you'd be interested in a challenge. I know that we're gonna have the DLC out, so I think a lot of people would be more interested in watching like DLC content, like with the bubbly basin and the swimming and everything. So let me know your thoughts, and I do need to start thinking of like, if I want to do builds in the bubbly basin, like what kind of builds we'd want to do. Because I know one that I've thought about was like the Lost City of Atlantis, but I think a lot of people would probably go to that, you know? So maybe it would be cool to do like an underwater city. I don't know. I have been watching a lot of Horrible Gaming, and they're doing like city builds, and they're like so amazing. She's so talented. But back to the build for a little bit. I did make an entire other side that I have neglected to talk about at this point. And again, I gave it like a little balcony moment. It doesn't go over top of, like, there's not a build on top of the, like, what is that called? Like patio, but it's just like a little patio that you can like walk out onto, and technically that counts as a house, that little patio situation. So if you wanted to house 4 Pokemon there, you could. I've only moved in 2 2 Pokemon into this house so far, and they are Charizard and Charmeleon, and they're like in the bottom floor. I do also decorate the interior of all the little houses in this area, but I just don't show it because they're very basic, so not like super exciting to watch. Like I have like 4 pieces of furniture in each area. I feel like I don't have a lot of like interior items yet, and I've been focusing on like exterior stuff, so I haven't really like thought about the interiors yet. I know some people are doing like interior builds that are literally amazing, but I've just never been an interior kind of gal, you know? Even in Animal Crossing, I like never really did it that much. And if I did, I would be like taking a lot of inspiration from other people. So yeah, if you're looking for interior builds, it's probably not going to be me. It's probably not going to be me. But for this one, I also saw a lot of houses that had like little dormers for medieval style buildings, so I wanted to add that somewhere as well. So that's what these kind of like jut out windows are supposed to be, like little dormer situations. And then this is actually the 3rd story, which I feel like this building is huge actually. So we have 3 stories on the one, and then the walkway and the bridge, and then the other side is 2, which I didn't end up building a staircase to the one on the right side. You kind of have to like go up to the 2nd level on the left and then walk through the hallway to get over there. So I do have to go back and add a like hallway, like a staircase or a ladder or something to like get into that house more easily. But again, I haven't really moved anyone in yet, so I'm not too concerned about them being able to make it into the houses. I also used a lot of the bigger doors because I wasn't sure who I would be moving into the houses yet, and I know some of the larger Pokemon can't fit through the single wide doors. So the first little house that we built that's on the bottom of the right side, that's the only area that I used a single door. So whoever I move in there will have to have kind of like smaller Pokemon live there, like an Oddish or something, because I moved Charizard into the other one, like I said, and I don't think he'd fit through the single door. So yeah, kind of have to think about that when you're decorating, like, are the actual big Pokemon going to be able to fit in here, because they are huge. And then I was adding the roof to this area, and then I realized I actually have to extend the roof to like 1 floor, not 1 floor, but like 1 block above, because I have those dormers there. So the way I was doing the roof, they were kind of like hitting each other and it wasn't working. So I'm just using the like middle piece of the wooden pillar set to add like another layer here. And then we'll go in with the little roof shingle pieces. And I did dye all of these brown, but I think it would actually look really cute with the orange tiles too, like the orange roof tiles. But I really like the brown, and that's kind of like a lot of like what I saw in like concept art was like, it's a lot of brown and stone. So I was trying to keep kind of realistic to that, but I think as I go on and make like the town and everything, I want to use kind of like different color roofing. I know Faralina Fairs, I think is their username here on YouTube, is also doing like a medieval kind of town. They've done a lot more in their area than I have with the builds. Obviously this is the first build of this area for me, but they're also doing medieval kind of style, and they have like really colorful roofs. Like I think they're using like green too, which I think is really fun. And then also I saw someone use a mixture of this tile and then the stone tile. I can't remember their username. They're, I believe, in Japan, and they have like the auto dubbed videos, which I think is so funny, those auto dubbed videos anyway, by the way. Sometimes when I'm like listening to those, like the auto dubbed like person like changes they change accents like randomly in the video. Like all of a sudden they'll be like have a British accent, and I'm like, what is going on? Anyways, that creator, I'll put their name on the screen if I can find them for you. I just don't remember off the top of my head, but they used a mixture of the stone roofing and then this one. I don't remember what this one is called, but they used a mixture of this one and the stone one, and I think it was in green, and it looked so cool together, and I kind of really love that idea. So we might do that eventually as well, is like mix the type of roofings together. I never used the blue one. I don't know what that one's called. The dark blue one, you know? That one gives me more of like a Japanese style or like an Asian style, like a roofing. And I just never really end up using that one. But I do think it would be interesting to like kind of mix up the buildings a little bit to make sure they're not looking like the same building 700 times in an area, you know? So I think mixing up the roofing and changing the colors a little bit. I am trying to stick to a specific color scheme, I think, like the browns, the whites, obviously for like the buildings and stuff, but also for like my flowers. You'll see later on when we actually decorate the like surrounding area, because I do go through and add like a bunch of flowers and trees and stuff like that later on at the end of the build. But I was sticking mainly to like reds, yellows, oranges, and I think that's kind of what I want to do. Maybe we could add some pops of blue. I think that would be a little bit interesting. But I'm also trying to make some of these houses in this area be a little bit like useful, I guess. But I'm trying to figure out how to do that, because I don't really want to have electricity in this area. Like I do want to have electricity, but I don't want to use like the utility poles and stuff. But I don't have the I have the generator unlocked, but I don't have the whatever you hook the generator up to, like that little gold box. I don't have that unlocked yet. So it's been a real struggle for me trying to decorate without that thing, because I don't want to have a bunch of utility poles and like street lights and everything, because those don't technically like exist in medieval times, you know? So I'm trying to be like a little bit more like realistic with it, but it's also like if I want to do like a like a store of some sort or like a stall of some sort, like I want them to be able to actually trade items. So I want to have like a cash register and stuff, but like I might like hide it behind a tree or something like a potted plant tree, because I still want this area to be like useful for me, but I want it to be like realistic too, if you know what I mean. So I think for the base of the building though, like the actual building itself, we are done. So we are going through and kind of extending the walkway. I think it turned out really good. This is one of those builds where I didn't love it at first, and then I was like, the longer that I kind of looked at it, I was like, you know what, I do like this. I don't know if you ever have those moments where you're like, you finish a build and you're like, I don't know if I really like this. But then after you like decorate around it, I feel like it starts to come together more. So you kind of have to like wait until you've actually done your decorations and stuff. And I guess I wasn't done yet because I did add a couple more windows in. And then over here, we are adding a staircase to actually get up to the second level of this area. And do I use a single door? No, I use a double door here too. I think I was going to use a single door, and then I didn't have any in brown, and I was too lazy to go find Smear Guru and have him dye my doors. I like that this game has us use like Pokemon for stuff like that, but also sometimes it's like I wish I could just dye stuff myself, which I guess you can if you're just doing like a single item. You have like the paint balloons, but when you're doing like all the roof tiles and everything, you know, like a large project, like obviously having Smear Guru do that is a lot easier than throwing 700 paint balloons, which would be insane, by the way. That would be crazy. Also, if you want to paint things, like the sash windows have 3 separate parts that you can paint. So I assume if you used a paint balloon, it would just paint the entire window. I don't know how that is, but I know some people will like paint only the outer rim of the sash window, or like paint them different colors, like the different pieces and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, we're building this little staircase, and I was trying to figure out how to do this with like the planks and stuff. And then the sides of these like staircases are just like a little weird. I don't know. I don't love it. But we end up tearing this basically down a little bit, and instead on the sides I'm using this stone tiling and kind of outlining the staircase a little bit with it. I really like how this looks a lot better, and I do end up using the stone tiling more later on, which was inspired by Faralina Fields that I mentioned earlier. She uses a mix of cobblestone and the stone tiling, and I really like how that looked, so I did incorporate that into this build as well, which I'm now thinking I don't think I went back and added any cobblestone to the actual staircase, but I do add the stone tiling to the cobblestone. I just didn't do the opposite of that, which I should have. Didn't think about it though. Again, I only focus on the front of the builds. I'm so bad at that. And then because I used the stone tiling on the sides, I was like, I feel like it would make more sense to have the stone staircase, so I switched that out for the stone. I did leave some of the planks there because I thought it was cute still. So like there's like little like landing areas. Like I didn't want it to go like straight up because that can look kind of crazy when it's really tall. So instead I kept some of those like little landing areas and just had the little planks there. And then we needed to add a staircase to the inside of the building of the second story to get to the third story. So this is, I feel like, a kind of a small interior area, so it wasn't like super easy to do this, but I did like an L-shaped, I guess, a corner-shaped staircase, and then you just have like one landing platform kind of like to turn onto, which I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger. Again, I think I could go back and extend the top level out in the back and then have more of the like posts, you know, to like hold it up. I think that would look a little bit nicer, and then again it would make the back of the build look a little bit more thought out as well, because again, look, you can just see it's like a plain wall, all the back of these things and the sides. There's not a lot of stuff going on, but I think it's now time to do some like details and like actually decorate around the build. And I love these little like corner pieces. I think they're so cute, and they work really well when you have like the off levels, you know, like when things stick out a little bit more. And then like I said, I don't want to use like lights and stuff, so I'm using a lot of like torches, and I feel like that's more like realistic to the like medieval feel. I do use the lanterns, but in my head lanterns can also have like candles inside, so I was like, I think that's okay. Also, these banners are so cute, and I dyed the like green color and red because again, that's like the color scheme I'm going for, and I just think they're so adorable, and they definitely give me like that medieval vibe. I also want to use the party bunting because I've seen people like hang those between buildings, and I think that looks so cute. But we're adding in some of the leaves, what are these, vines now, and I feel like this is when I start to be like, yeah, I kind of like this build. Again, once you like start like actually decorating around it and like adding more color in and everything, especially greenery, I feel like just it brings everything together, makes everything like very cohesive. I love to see it. Although getting these vines is kind of a pain. What I've been doing is just going to dream islands and stealing them. I know that you can also like make them yourself, but like that takes so long. And the only time I really do that is for the dense vines, like the square ones, you know, which I think I'm going to use right now. No, I was going to try to use some of the like dead vines, but I was like, that's a lot of brown. But like these little dense vines right here, like I make these and then I steal them, but like it takes so long to get like a good amount of them. And I think that's kind of just like the point of this game is like, it's pretty grindy, you know, like getting all the materials and everything, especially for like the plaster walls and like the stylish walls and everything. It's made out of like seashells, which I feel like is not a super common resource that you find. I do find that my Pokemon often trade them, which I haven't actually been buying when they trade them. I probably should, but I've just been going to the Pikachu Island and getting so many seashells, just going back and forth and getting a bunch of seashells. And then we're working on the surrounding area now, and I'm kind of just like trying to figure out like extending the beach sand a little bit, and I do add some more ocean rock, I believe, like right here. But I think I end up covering this up anyways, or changing it out for the gravel later on. Because I do want the gravel to be like the main kind of like walkway. So I have to like bring it over to like the actual area so that you can get to them. Also, these little plank things, I was trying to like collect them with the magnet rise, and I kept like deleting the squares of sand, which was like really frustrating me. And off to the side, I also have another like wall of cliff there, and I can't decide if I just want to make that more natural there or what I want to do in the front of that area. I was also thinking of getting rid of the area where you find where you get the magnet rise ability, right? Like where that like sandy structure is that turns into a rocket. But I don't know, like I'm scared that we're gonna need like certain things like that for like story later on, and then if we destroy them, like what's gonna happen, you know? Like I have been thinking about getting rid of the SS Anne, and I'm like, well, what if I need that for like a story, right? Because like I know Happiny comes in there and then they want you to like restore the pool and stuff, but like what happens with like in the DLC if like they're like, oh, the SS Anne is gonna take us underwater. I don't know. And then I don't have an SS Anne, and then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. I am kind of interested into seeing like how they introduce the bubbly basin area, because like how do we learn that we can go underwater? Is there going to be a underwater gate? Like how, I wonder if it's going to be with Kyogre. Is that how you say their name? Because it was funny. He actually popped up. I think you can see him in this video, maybe, in the ocean. He was like hanging out for a while. I don't know if it's here now or if it was like in the other video that I recorded. But he was chilling there and he was like, you should come live in the ocean. So I wonder if that is like a hint at him taking us underwater. So I just like wonder like how they're going to introduce us to going underwater, because I know in like the trailer that they did during the, what are those things called? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. But when they showed the trailer for the DLC, they showed us putting like the bubble helmet on, which is so cute, by the way. I kind of wish we like turned into like Poplio. That'd be so adorable. Oh my gosh, or Magikarp. That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I wonder how they're going to introduce us to like going under the water. I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I'm just really excited for Poplio because Poplio is one of my favorite. I also just learned about Oshawott. Is that their name? Oshawott. Oshawott? Oshawott. Is it Oshawott or Oshawott? The little, like otter Pokemon. I am obsessed with this Pokemon now. Did I spell their name wrong? Oh, Oshawott with an O at the end. I love them. Are you kidding me? They look kind of sad though, with their little upside down V, their little carrot kind of mouth. But like, are you kidding? They have like a little seashell and their little blue pointy ears. I love them. Oh my gosh, there's a little pop figure. I just like Googled them, so like they're up here right now. Also, here's a Mareep plush. That's actually really cute. But like, I just love a lot of like the water Pokemon. I don't know. And I've been looking at like a bunch of like Pokemon plushies, and I want to buy so many of them. But sometimes I'm like, am I like a poser because I only started liking Pokemon after I only started liking them after this game came out? Are people gonna be like, you're not even a real fan? I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know your game. Also, I wasn't allowed to watch Cartoon Network as a child, so like I didn't grow up with the Pokemon show because it was on Cartoon Network and I couldn't watch it. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. It's actually a real story though. What the heck is this guy? Bellybolt? That's a weird Pokemon. Sorry, I'm now looking at the Pokemon Center website at the plushies. They're just so cute. They have like the new Mosslax one. But these things are expensive. Like, okay, this Piplup plush is 31 inches. Guess how expensive this thing is in USD. Guess how expensive this is. It's $400. 400? Are you kidding? Oh, what is this? Pikachu wedding in a kimono. Oh. I really want this substitute doll as well, but it's $44. And the Mimikyu one is really cute. They also have Jirachi stuff, which I just learned about Jirachi with like the event and stuff, so yeah. They are very cute though. I gave them their habitat and everything. They seem to like it, but they have like the human Ditto transformation plush keychain. I think it'd be really cute if you could like customize these, because it's just like the like red-headed version with like the purple shirt. But like imagine if we could like make it look like us. Oh my gosh, that Dratini plush is huge. Yeah, anyways, these are, what the heck is this? Why does this Pikachu look so weird? Anyways, what am I talking about? Oh my gosh. I'm now looking at my video recording because I like play it while I talk. This area, I was kind of stupid. I tried to plant these plants here like 7 times and I was like, why is this not working? And it's because I had the curtains here. It's because I had the curtains. I cut out a bunch of me trying to get these plants to go there. But it was because I had the curtains, which I did get the idea to use the curtains by Yuma Bunny. I think that's their name. I'll put their link in the description as well for you. But they use the curtains on the outside of the build, and I was like, that is so smart, and it looks so cute. Also, I'm obsessed with that little like Weepin' Bell. Is it Victory Bell or Weepin' Bell? I think it's Weepin' Bell. Well, I think they call it a pitcher plant pot, and I really like that. But I decided we're back to this area because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I really wanted the flowers and the curtains, so instead I switched around and put the boxes in the center and then put my flowers on the outside. But I was able to put my curtains back. So also I have like curtains next to the torches over there, like on the little walkway. That probably isn't the best idea, right? I feel like they're gonna catch on fire. But I'm also using the mushroom lamps because, again, trying not to use like electricity and stuff, but it's really hard because we have a lot of like items that are really cute, like street lamps and stuff. Maybe I could just do like a modern medieval city. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I think earlier I was trying to say though, like I'm trying to think of like other builds to do. So I think like a blacksmith would be really cute, like maybe a bakery of some sort, like a plant shop. I don't know, like what are some other like medieval things that you can think of? Maybe like a bookstore or something? Like did they have books in the medieval times? I don't know. I don't want it to be like too historically accurate either, where it's like detrimental to me like actually decorating and stuff. But I've been seeing a lot of cute like interior builds for like shops and stuff, and I want to try to get better at interiors. I have like a mental block with an interior. I don't know. I also just don't like have a lot of like wall stuff, and I did just get the family Nintendo Online so that my husband's account had Nintendo Switch Online. So I'm thinking of going to one of like the dev islands or like one of those like catalog islands where you can like take a picture and then 3D print stuff, you know, because I know there's a bunch of cute like wall stuff, like little bookshelves, and like there's like little jars and stuff that can go on the walls. And I don't have like any of those recipes, or like I've never found those items. So I kind of want to go and take like a bunch of pictures of a bunch of different stuff. And I have been like time traveling a bunch. So the fact that I can't find those items is a little frustrating. I know that you can get all the berries naturally, but for some reason I cannot find the Rostberry. I think it's in the Skylands area and I just haven't found it yet because I haven't like explored too much of that area, to be honest, because it just stresses me out with how like, I don't know, huge it is. But I think we are coming up to the end of this build. I'm kind of just like adding in the greenery and stuff, and like just normal decor around. I really loved using those canoes. I got the DIY for it and I was so happy because I think they're adorable. And sadly, you can't like color those ones for some reason. But this is what it's looking like. I think it's really cute. And then I guess I decided I wasn't done yet. I needed to add more flowers in here. So I love these fluffy flowers. Are they called fluffy flowers? I don't know. They're really cute. They're from the Skylands area. Those and the robust flowers, adorable. Love to see it. Also, it was like my first time like walking around this build and not just like being like magnet rise. Oh, and a magnet rise again. But I had to go back and find like some smaller items to use. So we have like that grubby book, which I thought was really cute, and like this little pile of books on the ground. And then of course like the big things like the rocks and the driftwood. If you didn't know, you can pick those up if you like hold down the button where you like destroy them. So is it Y? Yeah, you hold down Y and then you can like collect them with magnet rise so that you can like decorate with them. And you can basically do that with anything. Like these are like the little like duckweed things, and you can do that with those as well. And I really like putting them like on the ground. I think they're really cute, especially like near the water. And the spider webs, are you kidding? Look how cute these are. Because you can cut those to get twine, but you can also steal them to decorate with, and I just think they're so cute. Oh, and here I am adding even more curtains in. Oh, also another thing you can pick up are these like cloth things, which again give you like did I say vines or twine? I meant twine. They give you twine. So but yeah, this is the build. I think it's so cute, and it's really, it goes down to the beach. I might add more down by the beach, but I just think it's really cute and lush, kind of like a tropical medieval vibe. And it can house like a whole bunch of Pokemon, because you can have I think you can have 5 houses in here, so 20 Pokemon. And then you could probably do like that luggage carrier's a habitat, so you could probably add a couple more habitats around here. And you could see my little block that I stood on to take this picture. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have other ideas for builds you'd like to see. Also, a big shout out to our channel members whose names are on the screen for you right now. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends!